No, that was lovely. Thank you.
All right.
Um, and I was wondering if you could talk about how parenting works for you. So, when communicating with telepathy and being in alignment with oneself, what does
Yes.
parenting then look like?
Well, again, the idea is that we allow the child to understand in a safe way, in a simulation, what the consequences of their choices may be before they actually do it in what you call the quote unquote real world. We also invite them to explore how to attract to themselves what they need without having to, in any way, shape, or form, experience negativity or perpetuate the idea of negativity toward another in order to get it. So we're teaching self empowerment. At the same time, we are also teaching them that whatever their passion is something that they can use to learn whatever lessons are necessary in physical reality without diminishing their passion. We do not attempt to, shall we say, fit their passion into the lesson. We use our imagination and creativity to fit the lesson into their passion so that they will want to learn. We make the idea of learning itself exciting and interesting so that they will develop the desire to learn because they know that learning will always be something they can use from the perspective of what they're already passionate about. We teach them the formula and how things work in a physical universe in that way. We teach them the physics of that, as we have shared with all of you. We allow them to know that they are truly connected to Source. And of course, underlying all of that is the unconditional love that every being deserves to know that by the very fact of their existence, they are worthy in the eyes of creation.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Bashar. I'll be
Yes.
definitely taking a page out of that book.
All right.
Um,
All you need to
eh,
do is use your own creative imagination and be willing to see other beings, including children, for what they are as spirits, knowing they have chosen to be where they are as part of their soul's growth path, and to have the insight and the ability to perceive what it is they are attracting to themselves as part of that path, and how they will learn lessons from it that will allow their soul to grow, assisting them with that. At the same time, guiding them in ways so that they become more familiar to what physical reality is all about.
wow, yes, that's a journey. Thank you.
Yes, it is a journey,
Thank you,
but an
Bashar.
exciting.
Exciting, yes. My final question is, what would the best way be to manage the relationship that children have with modern technology?
Well, again, you can guide them in ways that let them know there are many ways to experience the connections that they need to make. If they are allowed to feel isolated in any way, shape, or form, then they may overdo connections to certain things that allow them to either numb themselves or hide away or fill a hole or an emptiness that they may feel based on the idea of a feeling of disconnection. So it is important to allow them to experience connection in many different ways, and it is all those different ways of connection: connection to nature, connection to themselves, connection to source, connection to animals, connection to other beings, connection to spirit, connection to the stars, connection, 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 communication, communication, communication. The ability and the willingness and the awareness that there is communication going on between every being and every other being in certain ways will allow them the opportunity to experience the fascination of what kind of communications are going on in those connections, to explore them more broadly, to not feel cut off, to not feel isolated, so that they start relying too heavily on things that shut them down and shut them off and close them away from those connections.
Right. That makes so much sense.
I know, that's why I said it.
I'm so grateful to you, Bashar, for everything you do. Thank you.
Our deep appreciation and gratitude to you for the co creation of this interaction. Good day. Aveo.
Aveo.
Right. Excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
I have just one more question. There's a curious sort of personality that comes and goes, it seems, in this world. intriguing. Saint Germain. I
Yes.
don't know if you've spoken about him before,
It is an
but what
archetypal
is
energy. It is part of the
uh
collective consciousness that comes to those who are oriented according to that frequency. And
I
therefore, it is
see.
available to those who are willing to tap in for whatever the idea of that particular archetypal consciousness represents to them. It is of great help to many and can allow them to feel the opening of their minds, their spirits, their souls, and their hearts in the service to humanity that they may be willing to provide.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And I think that was everything I had for you. I mean, I had other things, but that's okay. Thank you very much for your time.
We thank you. Aveo. Good day.
Afeo. Good day.
Hi, Bashar. My name is May. I have a question about beliefs. Through my last few years' spiritual growth, I have gained a few wisdoms. I have become a much happier person. I am now able to see through other people's behaviors to see what their beliefs are, um, to see how their beliefs have made who they are. I can't seem to see through my own behaviors. I can't seem to understand what my beliefs are, those beliefs that make my life not as ideal as I want it to be. Um, so I was wondering if you could help me understand how I can find my own beliefs. Thank you.
First and foremost, you may be encroaching on the borderline of what my life should be, and that can take you out of the present. So the idea to find the beliefs that are keeping you from experiencing what you prefer is to actually fully accept where you are now, even if it's not what you deem to be the ideal situation. Because everything happens for a reason to give you the opportunity to use it to your advantage. So whatever it is you're experiencing now has to be fully accepted and fully understood as being the most important thing you can be experiencing. And you don't have to go into, I should be experiencing something different, because that's an invalidation of what's going on in the present, which takes you out of the present, which doesn't allow you to use the present to your advantage in the way that you could be using it based on what's being presented to you in the present. So staying in the present with what is what will allow you paradoxically to move forward toward what you prefer, but you can't think that you should be somewhere better than where you are now. Where you are now has to be the best possible thing it could possibly be, because it contains everything you need to become more, but you have to accept yourself for where you are in the moment. Good
Hi,
day.
hi,
Good day.
Bashar.
Good day.
Thank you so much for this time.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Thank you. I have some questions today
Yes.
regarding acting. I'm an I was really curious as how can actors be in a character who has traits that they don't have or they don't want to possess or create, and these might be of a negative, dark nature. So I'm curious as to how they can connect to the emotions in order to act this
Well, you
particular
have to
experience.
not be afraid of making that connection, knowing that it's temporary. You're plugging into a parallel reality version of yourself that may be experiencing that negativity as part of their soul's path for a variety of purposes and reasons that can ultimately be used for their soul's growth. So you have to understand that you're plugging into something that's not your soul's path in this timeline, but you're willing to make that connection to bring it through to be of service to others in playing a part and allowing yourself to experience what the parallel reality version is experiencing, knowing that it's only a temporary presentation because it's not necessarily part of your soul's path here, but it is part of their soul's path in their timeline, in their parallel reality. So you don't have to worry about it rubbing off on you unless you choose to match that vibration for yourself on this particular timeline. Does that help you?
Yes, thank you, Bashar. And that's also in terms of viewing content as well.
Okay, and final question. What is the one thing we can do each and every day to lessen the suffering in our world?
Be of service to others as best you can. Help where you can, knowing that showing others that there may be a more positive way to experience life, to put them in touch with their self-empowerment, to allow them to feel their connection to Source as an expression of Source, can be done as best as you can do it, but you have to let them decide how to absorb that information or even to receive it and accept it at all. Because you have to see them as powerful beings that have a life path that you know nothing about or very little about, but still understand that there may be a reason why they're in your life, and that may be for the benefit that you can share with them of other ways to do things that may be more beneficial to them. Whether or not they choose to take it is up to them. So do the best you can to help where synchronicity provides an opportunity for you to do so. Take the actions necessary that you would take if you were already living on a world of joy, peace, love, and connection, and just do the best you can to stay in that state, acting on your passion, following the formula, and being of service where you can. That's the best you can do.
Okay, so on to some other questions. This is a question about self-forgiveness. This person is saying that when they were a teenager, they made a mistake that haunts them. While they were never formally punished for it by the legal system, they've done a lot to look at it and learn from it and try to move forward. Most of the people that they've spoken to have reflected that you should forgive yourself and let yourself move forward. But I still wonder if I've been punished or if I've paid for it enough. I don't want to put myself in a negative position like that for a mistake that they made almost 20 years ago, but they're not sure how to fully just forgive themselves. How might you recommend that people navigate this situation where they feel like they've made past mistakes and they're still holding on to or still hanging over them in some way?
Well, they are simply creating a belief system that makes them afraid to move forward because they are afraid they might make another mistake. But the idea is that if you're learning the lessons from the mistakes you have made, then that gives you the ability to learn from those lessons what to do and how to move forward to be of service to humanity. The longer you hold on to the idea of self-recrimination and self-punishment and self-judgment, then the longer you will wait to be able to utilize what you have learned from making that mistake, the lesson that you could apply in your life that would allow you to move forward to be of service to humanity. So you're holding back your service to humanity. You are holding back sharing the gifts that you potentially have to give because you are too busy using your time to continue to punish yourself and judge yourself negatively for simply having done something that allowed you to learn a lesson that would actually allow you to be of service to humanity. So you're creating a kind of self-referential, self-continuous loop of negativity by not using the lesson to move forward and be of service to humanity in the way that you could, knowing that if for some reason you do make a mistake in the future, it is simply something else that you can learn a lesson from that would enhance your ability to continue to expand your service to humanity if you're willing to use it that way, if you're willing to see it in that light.
Okay, and you've mentioned how different vibrational levels are needed to comfortably interact with different ET races. For example, is the level needed to interact comfortably with a Sasani somewhat higher than what's needed to interact with a Yael in the same way?
Yes, because the Yael are designed to be the ones, along with the hybrid children, that will interact with humanity first. And therefore, while their vibration is still higher in general than humanity's on average, it is closer to your vibration so that there will be more vibrational compatibility when open contact occurs between humanity on Earth and the Yael civilization.
Okay. And
So, bit by bit, in being exposed to the different vibrational levels of different hybrids and different ETs. In a sense, your exposure to the different levels, starting with something closer and then getting another level that is a little higher and another level that is a little higher, gives humanity an opportunity to adapt to those different levels and climb the ladder of the vibrational frequencies to make you more vibrationally compatible with the next group of ETs that you would naturally encounter.
Okay. And are the preparers, the humans who play a special role in supporting open contact, or the human precursors, genetically modified towards the vibration of the hybrid beings? And if so, how? And how will their role change and accelerate as it comes closer to open contact? Do
We
all these
cannot
beings?
talk so much about this at this time, although to say adjustments have been made in your genetics that allow you to channel more frequency through yourselves as preparers that will make you more vibrationally compatible with the hybrids that will first come in contact with humanity. At this time, we are not allowed to discuss this further.
Okay, and do all these beings know they are preparers?
No.
Okay. And can every soul on Earth move or incarnate to different planets and other lives, or are a portion of us bound to only incarnate on Earth? How can we move to the planets or realities or Asasani?
You can do whatever you wish. Again, once you are back in your natural state as a soul, you will realize the reasons fully for why you chose an Earth incarnational experience or why you may choose another civilizational incarnational experience. It will all make sense to you, and you will simply decide at that time whether or not you wish to experience another Earth incarnation or something else. You have free will as a soul, but you will make those decisions with new information that you don't have now. So it will make more sense to you. Whatever it is you do choose, it will make perfect sense to you to choose it at that time. So you're not bound by it, but you will decide based on what you actually wish to learn and wish to experience. You have the free will as a soul to do so.
Okay, and do you ascribe special meaning to the word relevant? You frequently use this word, and the way you use it seems to be a little bit different from the way it's usually used by humans on Earth.
It is not so different. It simply means that you have chosen to experience certain things on your soul path of growth. And there are things that are relevant for that experience and things that are not relevant for that experience. You have a physical mind that can think beyond your soul's path and think that certain things might be able to be experienced as part of your soul's path, even if that's not necessarily the way that your spirit has chosen to experience your soul's path. So there can be things that are relevant for your soul's path that do fit what you wish to experience as a soul, and there may be things that your physical mind can conceive of that are simply not necessarily relevant for your soul's path. Sometimes this is the product of the negative ego being allowed more than what it is assigned to do, more than what it's designed to do, thinking, oh, well, I could do this and I could do that. And in fact, it may not actually be necessary for you to experience and may not be part of the plan that you arranged or the blueprint that you arranged for your life's path as a soul. So things can fit into that path, things cannot fit into that path that you can conceive of, and therefore there's a degree of relevance to those things.
Okay, and how do the Sasani view competition differently from humans on Earth? How do they avoid the negative feelings associated with losing?
There is no losing in our experience. There is only the gaining of experience and information. So to put it in the ways that humans have often expressed it, the only competition, even if you're playing quote unquote against others, is with yourself, to improve yourself, to thank the others for helping you experience a situation where you can learn something. So there are no losers. Everyone always learns something no matter what the outcome. And therefore that's the point of the competition, for each individual to reflect what you need to all the other individuals, and they reflect to you to become more of yourself. The idea of playing in a competitive sport is still a kind of relationship. And as we have said, that's what relationships are all about. To share with others, to provide for others what they need to know to become more of who they are. So if you're willing to look at it that way, and you understand that all you're doing is experiencing something where others are pushing you in a sense, providing for you a framework wherein you can learn more about yourself in certain circumstances, then there are no losers.